Hello, my name is Jan. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a project plan by using Microsoft Project. In the previous tutorials, I have already showed you how to create a plan for a database project by using Microsoft Project. But I did not go into depth on how to customize your project plan and how to apply resources. Further down, if you actually check on my channel, I'll also show you how to create a project plan again by using Project Libre, which is the free version of Microsoft Project, basically. Project Libre belongs to the open community, like OpenOffice. So I've got quite a few video tutorials on my channel. Some of them relates to project management, like that one here. So we are going to use the Prince2 methodology. So let's minimize this. And I have here a work breakdown structure with all the phases. I'm just going to put here my project software, and I'm just going to click on blank project. Next thing we need to do is basically save our project. So I'm just going to go to File, Save As. I'm just going to browse my location. I'm just going to call this My App Project. You're going to name it based on the name of your application and click Save. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is basically start bringing in all the work breakdown structure that we have here. We're going to bring it over here. So the first task name, I'm going to set it up to My App Project. You will replace this with the actual name of your project. I'm just going to change the mode to auto schedule. So the first one that we have here is the data capture. So I can use the copy and paste, Control C to copy and Control V to paste. I'm going to make this auto schedule. So next one is email, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. The questionnaire, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Skype, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Now, this is the data capture phase. The data capture phase is the phase where you basically communicate for the first time with a client and you try to extract as much information as possible so you know exactly what the project is all about. So in this case, I'm just going to email the client and I'm going to basically send a questionnaire to the client. In fact, we can put the questionnaire before. So I'm going to right click here and I can select insert task. So I can actually put the email to the client. Oops, let's cancel that. So I can actually highlight this, Control X to cut, Control V to paste here. I'm going to highlight the questionnaire, Control X to cut, and then Control V to paste here. And I could actually highlight the Skype. Or we can actually just right click here on row number 5 and select delete task. Now, I'm just going to generate a questionnaire by using Microsoft Forms. Then I'm going to go to send an email to the client. Within the email, I'm going to include the questionnaire. So this will enable me to have a better understanding of what the client needs. Then I'm going to communicate with the client through Skype. Now, in your case, you might use Microsoft Teams or Zoom or WhatsApp, whatever other application you wish to use in order to communicate with the client. Now, because this information here belongs to the data capture, I'm just going to highlight, I'm just clicking row number 3 and clicking a drag in to highlight from 3 to number 4. And let's maximize this. And now I'm going to use the intent. So now the questionnaire, the email, and the Skype belongs to my data capture. Now, also, my data capture belongs to my main app. So I'm just going to click here to select the row and click intent. So as you can see now, my data capture belongs to my main app. And all these sections here belong to the data capture. Okay. So the next phase I have here is the specification phase. Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Now the specification phase is not within my data capture at the moment. Is in with my data capture, so I want to make sure that it's no. So I'm going to select out end. So the data capture is finished. So I've got now my next phase, which is the specification phase. Now within my specification phase, I have the project specification, project planning. Now within my project planning, I can put Microsoft Project, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, and all the other software applications you will need in order to plan your software. So these software applications are part of the project planning, so I'm going to use the intent. So it's part of my project planning. So my project planning is part of the project specification, and the project specification and project planning is part of the specification phase. So I'm going to intent these two, and now I'm going to collapse them. So it's nice and tidy. So I've got my data capture phase. I've got my specification phase. Within my specification phase, I've got project planning, and I've got all the software applications that I'm going to be using. So the next phase, let's go back to the work breakdown structure, is my design phase. So Control C to copy, Control V to paste. So I need to create a logo for the client. I need to design a color theme. I need to take pictures of the restaurant or whatever software application you're creating for the client. Images for the food. So if it's a restaurant, if it's a hotel, this will be pictures of the hotel, pictures of the rooms, so on and so forth. So design of the layout of the software. So design the graphical user interface. I'm gonna also use Photoshop, or I could use Photopea. Oops, let's cancel that. Let's put here Photopea. Photopea is a free software. Photopea, which you can actually use within your web browser. And I will need one designer. So this is my design phase. I'm gonna select them all, and I'm gonna intent. So these belong to the design phase. So it's nice and neat. So the next phase I have here on my work breakdown structure is the implementation phase. Control V to paste. Within my implementation phase, I've got Visual Basic, Visual Studio and Visual Basic and the .NET framework. This is the software, the IDE I'm going to use, and the framework I'm going to use to develop my software application. I will also need a PC and a laptop, or both of them, and I'm gonna have to have one developer here. Now the developer, the IDE and the PC has to go under the implementation phase, so I'm gonna use the intent here. My next phase is the extended system phase. So just to make sure that if something goes wrong and I have to extend, I need to add some additional functionality into the software application, I will be able to do so. So this is the additional functionality. I'm just going to intent this so it goes within the extending system phase. The next phase is the testing phase. Within my testing phase, I can test the installation on a Microsoft tablet. I can test it for I can test the app to make sure that there's no errors on the code. Testing the login page, testing the booking page. Okay, let's highlight these rows just below the testing and use the intent. So this is part now of the testing phase. Let's go now to the handover phase. Within my handover phase, Control Z to undo. Within my handover phase, I've got the installing the app on all the devices. Further testing and training the staff. Now these 3 tasks will go under the handover phase. Let's intend them and let's collapse them. And finally, I need to make sure that I've got customer liaison throughout each phase. If I double click here, so it's like Microsoft Excel, it will expand for me the width of the column. So I need to liaise with the client throughout every single phase to avoid any confusion or any surprises at the end of the project. Let's double click here to increase the width. Okay, so all these communications are part of the customer liaison. Okay, so now I have my work breakdown structure added into my Microsoft project document. So I've got now a clear breakdown structure of all the tasks which I will need to complete in order to complete this project successfully. Okay, the next thing I need to do is make sure that I'm gonna basically select all of this, make sure I've added all this to auto schedule. I'm going to repeat what I just done. So I'm going to Control Z to undo. So what I did, I selected the auto schedule one. Then I've moved my mouse cursor to the bottom right corner where the cross becomes from white cross to a black thin cross. And then I'm going to click and drag downwards. This way, I'm going to convert all of these into, instead of manual schedule, to auto schedule. Instead of actually keep going manually one by one and select them. Okay, the next thing I need to do is make sure I'm going to put here the duration. So for the questionnaire, I will probably need 3 hours. To send the email, I probably need, select that, I probably need 30 minutes. For communicate with a client through Skype, I'm just going to put here 3 hours. Project specification, I will need maybe 5 days to work on the project specification, to go back and forth with a client if needed. For the project planning, I need to install these software applications. So I'm probably going to need 30 minutes for each. So I can actually click and drag here to replicate the 30 minutes, but it's converted to days. So let's put here 30 minutes. 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Okay. So to create the logo, I will need probably 3 days. For the color theme, couple days. Take images of the restaurant, take pictures of the restaurant. 1 day will do. Images for of the food, maybe a couple days. Might have to go for a second day there. Design the layout of the software. Let's use 2 days for that. Design the graphical user interface. Let's put a couple days on that. To install to install Photoshop, let's put here 30 minutes. Now Photopea, we don't have to worry about it because it's already running on the web. To communicate with the designer, in fact the designer will have to use, to communicate with the designer, let's put 1 day, let's put a couple days. To install Visual Studio, we'll need 30 minutes, but also to develop the software application, let's say 7 days. So to use the laptop, we'll need 7 days. Let's put 7 days down. In fact, no, we only need a day to get a laptop, access to a laptop or a PC. The designer, let's put 2 days just in case we cannot find the first designer. We can actually find a different designer. Extended system phase, let's put 5 days just in case something goes wrong, so we can calculate that. Now testing, 1 day for testing, installing the Microsoft, testing installation on Microsoft tablet. So we can put here, instead of tablet, we can actually change that to Windows 11 PC. So we can put this 1 day, or maybe 3 hours. Push it too much. 3 hours. Testing the app to ensure there are no errors. The app is quite small. Let's put 4 hours. Testing the login form. Let's put 30 minutes. Testing the booking form. Let's put 2 hours. Now the handover phase, installing the app on all the devices. Let's put 1 day because we don't know how many devices the client wants us to install the app. Further testing in the restaurant, so we can put 1 day. Training the staff 1 day. And then for the customer liaison, these are emails. Let's put 1 hour for all of them. Now you can Control C to copy, so once you highlight it, and then Control V to paste on all of them. Or you can actually select that one and then basically click and drag downwards, but it's going to convert it to dates. So let's undo this. Let's stick to 1 hour there. All right. Okay, let's double click here, double click there, and double click there to expand. Let's click and drag. So predecessors, we don't need this. We can hide this. We can hide that one as well. So we need the resources. We're gonna add the resources next. But before we add the resources, we need to make sure that our tasks, linked with each other. So I'm just gonna highlight these tasks, and I'm just gonna link them. So let's collapse that. This task is linked. Okay, we cannot link it actually because it's on its own. Let's collapse that. So these tasks, we can link them with each other. Let's collapse this. These tasks, let's link them. This task, we're not going to link that because it's on its own. Let's highlight these tasks and link them again. Let's select these tasks and link them again. Now here, that one, in fact, we need to, the customer liaison, we need to make this manual. Because we're going to put manual the dates once we see them below, above, sorry. So the next thing we need to do is basically link all these tasks now. Oops. These phases, we're going to link them with each other. That's better. So now we can actually tell. So on the data capture, we need 0.81 days. So the data capture is here. Is on the 25th of the 11th. That's correct. The specification phase is on the 25th of the 11th again. Now the next phase, the design phase, is on the 2nd of the 12th. So for the design phase, I'm going to put here 2nd of the 12th. And it's going to, okay, yeah, we'll need 1 hour. So the next one is the implementation phase. So the implementation phase is the 19th of the 12th. 19th of the 12th. The next one is the extended system phase, which is the 2nd of the 1st. The next one is the testing phase. Testing phase is on the 9th of the 1st. The next one is the handover phase. The handover phase is the 13th of the 1st. And finally, the customer liaison phase can be deleted because this is what it is. So we can actually delete that. We don't really need that. Okay, so now we broke down the customer liaison on the actual dates that Microsoft project gave us. Now in your case, you're going to have different dates. So you're planning your project the way you want to plan your project. And it's great for us now. We know exactly how long the project will take for us to complete. So we can actually go straight away now to the client and say to the client, we will finish this project. I'm going to finish this project within 40 days. So it will take me less than 40 days to complete the project. Okay, let's expand all this. Let's link this now. Well, no, we don't want to link that because it messes up with our dates. So let's break the link. Let's lose that. Let's undo that. Yeah. Okay, so if we go further up now, what's that there? Project planning. Let's link this too. That's better. So we can actually see the Gantt chart there. Now, all these tasks, for example, the logo, and once we finish the logo, we can start working on the theme. Now, if we need to have the logo and the theme finished at the same time, so we can double click here on the link and we can change the finish to start to maybe finish to finished. So we need to finish both tasks before we move on to take pictures of the restaurant and the food. So it's up to you what kind of relationship you're gonna have. If it's finish to start, if it's start to start. Start to finish to start means I need to finish the first task before I start the new task. Start to start means I can start both tasks at the same time. Finish to start, I need to basically finish the first task and finish the other task before I move on. So both tasks basically need to finish. Start to finished, I need to basically start the task and finish the task before I move on to the next task, to the third task. So, or if I click none, the relationship breaks, so I have no relationship. So one way to add the relationship, you highlight the two rows and you can click here the link to generate the relationship, or you can just click and drag downwards to generate the relationship. So the default relationship it's going to give you is the start to finished. So I need to basically, finish to start. I need to finish this task before I start this task. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense to you. Now, if you play a little bit around and you play the video a couple times, you will hopefully get the message what I try to explain. So the next thing you can do as well is you can double click on each section and you can actually change the color to a color of your choice. You can change the pattern to a different pattern, the color to a different color. Okay, so the shape to a different shape. It's up to you what you are going to do. It's your Gantt chart. Okay, so by actually changing the colors here, you can make things a little more easier for you to actually spot in the future. So each section will represent something. So each color represents something. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is basically apply some resources. So we're going to go to the Gantt chart drop-down list and we're going to select resource sheet. And here we can start adding our resources. So the first resource I'm going to put is my name, because I'm the project manager, and I'm going to set it to work. So for the materials, we can actually right click here and we can hide this. So the initials is IN is diesel glue. For the group, we can actually highlight here and we can hide that. The maximum, we can highlight and hide that as well. So the standard rate is, let's give myself £50 per hour. And for the overtime, I'm just going to give myself £100 an hour. So I'm going to hide accurate, leave the base. Okay, so here code, let's hide this as well. Let's put a cost here. So we need the total cost. Let's put another cost here, cost 1. I'm just going to rename cost 1. Custom fields, rename. I'm just going to call it cost to buy. Cost to buy. Let's click OK. So I need the designer. So I'm just going to put Matthew Ben will be my designer, and B, I'm going to pay him £40 an hour, £80 for overtime. Also Jack Smith, it's going to be my developer. Let's put here designer. In fact, we can put the designer on the nodes. So let's remove that. Let's click on nodes. Designer. So I'm gonna put here developer. I'm gonna double click here project manager. There's more than one ways to do the same thing in the computer world, so it's easy for me to basically check out who is who. I can put extra notes here. All right, so for Jack Smith, I'm going to put JS. Let's give him £40 and £80 as well. Okay. The next thing I need is PC1. Need one PC, and this will be material, and it's going to be PC1. Now the cost to buy is going to be, let's say, £500. I'm going to copy this, Control-C to copy, and paste it here, and paste it there. So I'm going to put here PC2, PC2, PC3, PC3. I'm going to double click here on the nodes and we'll say the PC1 needs to be always used by a project manager. I'm going to copy this, Control-C to copy. I'm going to double click here. The PC2 always need to be used by designer, and the PC3 always needs to be used by the developer. Okay, so there's no confusion. So next we need PT broadband. Now if you're going to be using Sky Broadband or whatever, different company, goes again on material. Let's put cost instead of material. Let's put, we need 40 days, so just for 2 months period. Let's put £100. It's going to cost us for the broadband. We need to use Office, so it's going to be cost to rent an office. We will need let's say £2,000 for 2 months, so £1,000 per month, because we go on 40 days. Let's go back on the Gantt chart. We have 40 days here, so it's over a month, so we go to the second month basically. So the landlord will charge us monthly, same with broadband. Let's go back to the resources. So we need MS project, so we need to cost them Microsoft project, which is probably £10 a month. Let's go £20. You can search on the internet to find out the cost per month or the cost to actually buy the license. So we need Office 365. This is yearly fee, but we're going to be using for 2 months, so let's say again £20. If we need to get Uber or a taxi, we need to basically calculate this cost, so we can say £200 for taxi, just in case we need to go back and forth to see the client, or if we don't have to pay taxi, his travel expenditure, maybe petrol, you can change that to diesel or petrol or wherever you want to put. Okay, this is enough. You can put more resources there. So now I'm just going to click the little floppy disk icon to save my project. So I'm going to go back to the Gantt chart now, and I'm going to go through and apply resources. So let's expand this one here. Okay, so for the questionnaire, I will need the project manager, I will need the broadband, I will need the Office, I will need Microsoft Office, I will need the first PC, I don't need a taxi. Okay, so for the email, I will need pretty much exactly what I've put here, so I can click and drag this to replicate it. So if you're not sure, you can always click here to double check. This is exactly what you need. So, and the next, that one is also, I will need the same resources here. Okay, so for the project specification, I will need the same resources here. So I'm going to click here, Control C to copy and Control V to paste here. You never put resources on the titles. So to install the software, I can actually install the software again. Okay, so I will need myself, I will need to be in the Office, I will need Office 365 as well to keep some notes maybe, and the PC. Okay, and we need for the logo, I need to include all of the above. Also, I will need to include Matthew. Matthew is the designer. I think Matthew is the designer. Let's double check. Matthew is the designer. So it's alright for you to go back and forth. So Matthew is the designer. Also Matthew will be using the PC number 2. Okay. So for the design phase, I will need Matthew throughout. Okay. So because I'm the project manager, I have to be there all the time. Now in the implementation phase, I'm just going to go here, Control C to copy here, and Control V to paste. So for the implementation phase, I need Jack and I need PC3, because Jack will be using PC3. So this is the implementation phase. So for the additional functionality, I'm just going to Control C to copy this cell and Control V to paste. For the additional functionality, I will need also the designer, which is Matthew, and the PC number 2. In fact, on the first section here, I will need, let's put Microsoft Project as well. Only on the first section here. In fact, I could actually put Microsoft Project on all of them. I can put this later on. It's not important. Right, so as long as I've got Microsoft Project on the first one, I know that I have installed it. Okay, so the next one is testing. So for the testing, I'm going to call both the designer and the developer to help me out with the testing. Yeah, we need Microsoft Project as well to keep records. Okay. The next one is the handover phase. So for the handover phase, I only need myself. So Jack and Matthew will not be there. I don't need to be in the office, but I might use Office 365. I don't need the broadband. I could put my mobile phone there as well as resources. So I can replicate this now. Okay. For the customer liaison, I'm going to be the one who communicate with the customer throughout. So let's double click here to expand here. This. So for the customer liaison, I can be there. As you can see here, there's a red flag here, which basically, because I'm already on the other projects, so it's taking it time, but that's okay. I can manage that. So I can be in more than one places at the same time as a project manager. That's okay. But I like Microsoft Project because it basically shows you exactly. So if you accidentally made a mistake, flags it for you. Okay. So you can expand this so you can see exactly what resources you are using. Okay. Okay, so all the resources have been applied now, which means I can actually go to the resource sheet now. I can actually see how much money I will need to go ahead with this project. So I have £15,000 for myself, £6,000 for the designer, and £5,000, 180 for the developer. Now, if the budget that I've got is, let's say, for instance, £12,000, I need to make these two guys redundant. So I'm going to highlight these two, right click and select delete resources. And it's only red because I'm in multiple, I'm doing multiple tasks there. That's okay. I'm aware of that. So if I click on costs, I could actually change that to from 50 to £20 an hour. Okay, so this will bring the cost to £6,270. So I need to calculate this now. So I've got 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. So this will be just below £12,000. So I can actually afford to give myself maybe £21 per hour, £22 an hour, something like that. So keep playing around until basically you've got the total amount that you're happy with. Okay, so if I want to get paid more than £21 an hour, so if I actually put, let's bring a calculator here. So I've got here the total is my total expenditure is, let's say, £1,500, £1,500, £3,500. So £3,500 plus the £100 here, plus the £40, £240. So this brings us the total of, let's call it £4,000. So if we had a budget of £12,000, so we could actually go another £2,000 there. So we can go, so I can give myself £8,000 here. So if I go here, well, let's change that to £25. That's took me a bit over. £24. Oops. No, £23. Yeah, this is about right. So if I go back to my calculator, plus 7 to 10.50. Okay, actually, yeah, we still have big gap there. That calculates all right. Yeah, that's okay. So we have, yeah, let's put 5 here, 25 pounds an hour. Plus 7, 8, 3, 7, 50. Okay, I can go even higher. Anyway, I think you get the gist. So another way you can actually do it is by going to the Gantt chart. You can actually say, actually for this, for the logo, it's not 3 days. Let's use 1 day. I can finish the logo in 1 day. Here I've got 7 days to develop the software. I can actually reduce that to 4 days. Additional functionality, I can change that to 3 days. And if I go now back to resource sheet, so I've got here, let's give myself 30 pounds an hour now. Okay, so this is about right. Then we can actually go back and forth to the Gantt chart to reduce the days, and then you will be able to actually give extra money to yourself, the hourly rate, until you're basically fully satisfied. I hope you learned something new today. I hope you will use these new skills to create new Gantt charts and plan your project by using the Prince2 methodology. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.